And she's right, I didn't get it on a treadmill, I got it in the wilderness of Wyoming. So, Bjorn's right, well, whoever guessed it is right. I'm talking about proclamation. I'm going to go a roundabout way to get there, so just bear with me while you're thinking, this isn't about proclaiming the good news. It is. Just might take a little bit before we talk about that part. So, alright. So the past 40 days, I have been spending in the wilderness of Wyoming. Has anybody heard of the Wind River Mountains? Yes. Okay, the YWAMers have heard of the Wind River Mountains. Has anybody who's not a YWAMer heard of the Wind River Mountains? Okay, well they're like a part of the Rocky Mountain Range in western Wyoming. And they're some of the most remote wilderness in the States. So I spent the entire 40 days of my summer sleeping on the ground in the wilderness of Wyoming. And contrary to what Bjorn said, I was not alone. I was with a group called Solid Rock Outdoor Ministries. S-R-O-M. You can just call it SROM. It's like a wilderness training school. I was with like 14 other people who were in my group. And we were like doing training to get, we were getting wilderness training, leadership training, and stuff like that in the wilderness. But what's great is that most people think that wilderness and camping is like this wonderful, amazing, beautiful experience, and they're picturing mountain meadows and flowers and all this great, happy, fun stuff. Like we're going to have a campfire and roast marshmallows, you know? Like that's what most people think wilderness is. I thought that's what wilderness was too. But until you spend extended time in it, there's my little campfire. Set that there for a minute. As you spend extended time in the wilderness, you realize that it is not this extremely fun, happy place. The conditions are just brutal. And a lot of times it's not pleasant. You don't really want to be there. I mean, Luke had a good point the other night when he said that if the Israelites could stay in the wilderness, they might, because yeah, everything is like simple. I mean, the basic rule of life is eat, sleep, survive. It's very easy. But it sucks. Like, to start out, no, it really does. To start out, there's bugs, okay? Bugs. Tons of bugs. And when I'm talking bugs, I'm talking plague of Egypt mosquitoes, okay? And, I mean, I can't describe how horrible these bugs are. You slap your arm and you kill like 10 with one hand. It feels like you're donating blood to the wilderness. So, plague of Egypt mosquitoes, that's one thing. Now, living with mosquitoes in the wilderness is one thing. Trying to go to the bathroom, exposing your lily white cheeks, is a different story. Speaking of which, no toilet paper allowed. That's the rules of some wilderness areas, which means we had to wipe with sticks. Oh. Snow was my personal favorite substance. But, still, very sketchy. Not very pleasant, not clean at all. I hated it. So aside from all of that, then I can relate to the Israelites with the manna thing. Same old trail mix every single day. There's only a few ways you can eat trail mix, and that's like one way. You just put it in your mouth. It's boring. I hate it. You eat the same thing every day for 40 days, and you get sick of it. I wouldn't want manna anymore. I wouldn't pick manna. I would pick Promised Land if I was the Israelites. Sorry. And of course, injuries. Injuries are plentiful. The story behind my finger is I was sliding down this snowy mountain slope with an ice axe in my hand, trying to ice axe. For those of you who, sorry, Carissa didn't understand when I was explaining this to her. An ice axe is a pick like that you jam into the snow so you stop yourself from falling and dying. And I jammed my finger on it. It's just sprained. It's not really broken. But anyway, the doctor didn't believe me when I told him that story. I don't know why. Yeah, so there's lots of injuries. Storms. Hate storms. I freak out when it comes to lightning. Like, if there was a lightning bolt and then a thunderclap, I'd be the first one in my tent. Hate lightning. And the thing about wilderness is there's no escape from the weather. You have to eat in the rain, you have to cook in the rain, and you have to sleep in the rain hoping that your tent doesn't leak. So, I hate storms. Another thing. Bears. Oh my gosh. I just read a story in the newspaper about this bear mauling in Yellowstone National Park. I guess this bear came into the campground and just ripped this guy to shreds. That was really close to where we were too. So we had to like take our food live in fear that the bears are going to come find us if somebody forgot to put their food outside their tent. So bears are scary. Yeah. Our whole trek, we walked about 120 miles the whole 40 days in some of the most remote wilderness that we have in America, in a place where most people never go. And we would hike up to 9 miles a day, which is a lot. You may think that's not a lot, but when you have 70 pounds on your back, that's a lot. 9 miles a day. One time we got lost and ended up hiking 15. Not a good day. So, 9 miles a day, 70-pound packs on our back. Sometimes we were on trails. Sometimes we were going over mountain passes. Sometimes we were hiking on glaciers. We smelled bad. We had blood and dirt caked on our bodies from not having showers. We didn't have a bed except for our sleeping mats. We had minimal clothing. It was extreme heat, extreme cold, always moving from place to place and picking up our camp and going. And there was no contact with the outside world. I can't imagine what it would have been like to be the Israelites. 40 years in the wilderness. After 40 days, I was ready to be done and never go back. I mean, one particularly hard day, I was sitting on the side of this glacier, freezing after like 5 days on this glacier, eating the same food. I'm tired, I'm not getting sleep. And I thought of the most uncomfortable situation I've ever been in my life. And I thought of puking in my bathroom toilet. And I thought to myself, I would rather be there, puking in my bathroom toilet, than sitting here freezing on the side of this glacier. Like, that's how uncomfortable it was. More than once, I echoed the cry of the Israelites. Why, Moses, why did you bring us here to die? That's affectionately called drama hiking. When people on our team would be like, why are we doing this? So in all reality, wilderness is not a fun, happy, sit around the campfire and roast marshmallows experience. It's a brutal, tiring, hunger-filled trek where you would rather not be at times. That's what wilderness really is like. But this is the kicker. You cannot get to your promised land if you don't first walk through a wilderness. Like, you can't get to the summit of a mountain unless you walk the really long path to get there. So I'm just going to reiterate kind of what we've been talking about here. The wilderness kind of represents the journey that you're on. A Jordan crossing is like those moments in your journey, in your wilderness journey, where it's either move forward on your journey or give up and go home. And then the promised land is a place that God wants to take you. Does everybody get that? It's kind of like what we've been breaking down this whole week. Okay, so I want to illustrate specifically Jordan crossings. I was in this area of Wyoming where we were doing some rock climbing. Yeah. Rock climbing is my favorite sport. So we're going to get ready to rock climb, and we're in this area that has some friction climbs, which is basically you stick to the wall like Spider-Man and go up. It's just, they're very hard. And one of the climbs of the day was called the beached whale. Can you show the picture, Luke? Okay, this is the beached whale. And the beached whale is a friction climb. It was one of the hardest climbs in the area that day. And I really wanted to do it. So I decided I would go for it. The beginning is very hard, but it was like in my comfort zone of climbing. I mean, I'm an okay climber. I'm not the greatest, but I can climb a little bit. And so it was moderately difficult for me. It was definitely very long. And so I'm getting tired, right? And I get to the top. And everybody's telling me, oh, the top, it's super easy. There's like this really nice handhold right on the top of the whale. Can you go to the next picture? Okay, that's the whale. It's that big rock on top. And you have to get over that crack. It looks small, but it's not. I would be like just reaching the top of that crack there if I was standing on it. And so there's like this little hole right up here. And there's supposed to be this handhold in there. Handholds where you grab on and pull yourself up. And everybody's like, oh, there's this sick handhold up there. It's like a jug. And I was like, oh, sweet, it'll be really easy. So I'm really tired, and I'm trying to get to the top of this thing with this jug. And what a jug is, if you don't know what a jug is, it's like, pretend this is a rock. This is the handhold right here. You can just put your hand in there and grab on, and it's super easy. That's how nice of a handhold it is, okay? So I need a really tall volunteer. John.
Tall moon.
John. Tall John, okay. John, you can hold that high up above your head. All right, so